Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in the buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the artificial intelligence do all the work and increase conversions by more than 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Come check us out on pathmonk.com. All right, everyone, welcome back to Pathmonk Presents. Today, we are joined by Marc Bitanga. Marc is a VP of Marketing and fractional CMO for B2B marketing. Marc, I've been looking forward to this conversation, man. I think it's going to be awesome. And I just want to welcome you to the show. It's great to have you here today. How's it going?
Thanks so much, Rick. Thanks for having me, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
Likewise, likewise. So listen, I wouldn't do it justice if I were to introduce you and do your whole bio. I think this is a better job, from you. So if you could give our audience a little bit of an idea of, what does a VP of marketing like yourself does, and what's at the heart of your day to day, and what kind of companies you work with, that would be amazing.
Sure. Been in B2B marketing for the last 20 years. I've worked with companies like SAP, Hootsuite, Ritchie Brothers, as well as, funny enough, EA Sports, the video game company, was
Awesome.
part of my resume as well. It started in digital marketing before it was even called digital marketing, and learned along the way. And essentially, I help my clients and brands get more out of their B2B marketing, get more leads, get more engagement, and generate more revenue.
Okay, that sounds pretty sweet. And we got plenty of CMOs and SaaS founders in our audience. So knowing that you've worked with these kind of companies, maybe there's something coming on the horizon for yourself, right? So that's great. So I just want to know a little bit about what type of businesses you enjoy working with the most, I guess, and what kind of client do you feel you're able to serve the best with
Yeah,
your skills?
that's a great question. I tend to find myself working with B2B SaaS companies, typically around Series A all the way to Series C. And usually it's around either the growth phase of the company or the scale phase. Either growth, meaning firming up and establishing their marketing engine, so to speak, or scale, meaning operationalizing it and 10xing the growth of revenue or what have you, whether it's expanding globally or expanding into new markets. Those are the type of companies that I find myself working with and enjoying working with. And you know, I think it's a great opportunity from not just a fractional sense, but just even as a marketing leader, you get a seat at the table. And I typically work directly with CEOs. I find myself also collaborating quite strongly with the VP of marketing, and also dabbling a little bit and working alongside product teams in terms of their product launches.
Okay, so it really spans across different teams, and I'm sure that all the needs and even the messaging, if you will, of whatever you do and how you basically present things will change based on who you're speaking to, right?
Oh,
And so
absolutely.
I'm curious about what's the, if you were to kind of encompass what you do, would you say there's a core problem that you help these companies and these executives solve specifically? Is there anything specific they can expect when they come to you?
I think the thing that they're looking for is a plan that they know when they put $1 in, they're going to get 5 or $10 out. And it's essentially establishing the marketing strategy that gives leadership teams not only the confidence, but the outcome that when you're investing $1 in marketing, it's going to come out threefold, fivefold, or tenfold. And let me get into much more specifics. It's really experimenting and testing and determining what are the tactics to get to that point. Whenever I work with a startup, I think of their whole go-to-market as our goal as a go-to-market team, like marketing being part of it, is to have one solid concrete pillar. But when you're working with a startup, it's a bunch of Jenga blocks. And you're
Mm,
tackling problems, whether it's an operations problem or you're building the right team or you're experimenting with tactics. All of that has to come to fruition for you to have eventually that outcome of $1 in comes out multiple fold. And so the challenge that founders and CEOs typically come to me with is a number of different things. It could be, hey, Mark, we're scratching the surface on marketing. We know we need to invest in marketing. Come help us establish it. That's one. Another one could be, Mark, we're investing heavily in marketing, but we're not seeing the returns that we want to see. Or the third one is our growth is plateaued. We've tried everything. We don't know where to go from here. So those are the typical scenarios that I find myself in, but all of it really comes down to establishing that marketing strategy that really produces confident outcomes, meaning the CFO will gladly hand me $1 to get more out.
mm, Okay, so it's different problems for different, I'm sure for different sizes, right? Because I found plateauing my growth. Obviously, it's most likely I'm not a startup at that point, or depending on, where I am in my journey, obviously. But I'd be curious to know, say I'm a CEO, right? And
Mhm.
I'm plateauing, and I want growth when it comes to our marketing, and want to get more leads and all of that comes with it. How would I find out about your services, about Marc Bitanga? Uh, Obviously, I know you have a social account, right? You have a LinkedIn account, but what other ways might I be able to know more about your work and your way of thinking, your way of doing marketing?
No, that's a great question. The main way people find me, quite frankly, is LinkedIn. I've been writing on LinkedIn for a number of different years and just sharing my thoughts and sharing my opinions on B2B marketing. And that's one main way that CEOs and founders find me. I also am invited to quite a few meetups to, you know, speak or mentor with founders. I've been with New Ventures BC, which is an incubator here in British Columbia, Canada, as well as my network. And so I think if you can encompass all of it, people typically find me because of content, whether it's me speaking, at a live event or whether it's me writing a blog post. And most recently, I started a newsletter called squeezethefunnel.com,
Love that name.
where basically it's the raw, completely authentic take on B2B marketing. I send out a free weekly newsletter to my subscribers.
That's awesome. I love that name, by the way. It's Squeeze the Funnel is kind of sticks with you, I think, and you kind of know exactly what you're getting into without even seeing it. So I think that's good job there. Is there any story behind the name, or was it just?
Oh, I had a number of horrible names there, Rick. I had a number of horrible names that I was about to pursue. And it was just kind of one of those epiphany moments of, that's an interesting name. And then I quickly went to name.com to figure out if someone already had it. And so, there wasn't a lot of analysis. It's more of like one of those light bulb moments that once in a while happens.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so. I would love to know because obviously in our audience there will be founders, there will be business owners, and lots of marketers, right, of
Mhm.
any level. And so most of them will be in some kind of way involved with their website, right?
Mhm.
So I want to know from you, from your experience, having worked with all of these companies, uh, what do you think is the role of a website when it comes to attracting leads? And uh, if you could, give me an idea of an ideal website, right? What
Sure.
is its standout strengths, and usually what do you see across websites that maybe areas that could be improved quite often?
Sure.
So yeah, just want to leave it to you. That's a long
That's a
question,
great
but
question.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a great question. To me, a website needs to be your silent salesperson, right? It is the non-threatening, intimidating way of learning more about a company without having to talk to an individual. I just really recently came across a keynote um, by the current CEO of Hootsuite, and she was doing a keynote in front of 150 plus different SaaS founders. And she
Mm,
shared some interesting stats. And one of them was that Gen Z and millennials, they don't want to talk to people. They want to do their own due diligence. And so your website needs to be part of that due diligence as people want to learn more about your company and your brand. I think the things that I've seen that have worked well in terms of high performing websites, and when I say high performing websites, it's not just a matter of attracting traffic, but
mm,
also converting that traffic, right? Whether it's book a demo or downloading a lead magnet. I think, and I'm going to throw a bunch of bullet points out there, right? I think one
yeah.
thing that is underestimated is, uh, messaging and positioning and really sharing your value proposition. Too often I see the website is handed to a web design team that, quite frankly, is more creatively oriented as opposed to marketing oriented, and
Mm,
they're going to recommend some clever, headline or what have you, but it's been shown time and time again. Just be straightforward around what you do and who you do it for. So messaging and positioning is something that needs to be invested in, something that continually needs to be tested. You also have to show social proof, whether that's testimonials, that's videos, that's case studies. You need to put your best work forward as a brand to say, don't just trust us, we're loved by X millions of clients, or here's the salad bowl of logos that we work with, or here's a video testimonial. Really pushing your work forward so that it can speak for itself, so that you engender trust and build trust essentially. And I'm not saying that's 100% on the website to build trust, but it's definitely a component for so.
That's that first impression, right? If you got that social proof, if you got the right messaging, if you got someone that actually knows their copywriting, it will make an impression. People will come back or either let's say convert on the spot, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a very good point that you're making there. Um, Let's talk about tech stack for a second, because
Sure.
I personally, I for one, like to geek out on what's the newest tool or what's the best tool and things like that. And I know for certain that many of our listeners do too. So, what are the tools that you've used across your years of experience that you could recommend to say it could be anything, it could be visual, it could be something related specifically to conversion rate optimization. Could you share maybe a few tools that you think, okay, this is a game changer and you've been using maybe for a long time?
I think the two that I would recommend is conversion oriented and will definitely be helping your conversion rate. The one that I completely rely on is Unbounce.
Mm,
Unbounce is a platform where we've used it for A/B testing, for really what I call lightweight A/B testing, meaning it doesn't require my tech team to build a variant for us to test, because you want to be able to test a number of different things, and sometimes you need to do that in rapid succession. And quite frankly, IT teams and design teams just can't keep up with the pace that marketing wants to keep up. And so Unbounce, shout out to the Unbounce team for building a great product, is a really great platform for that. I think the other aspect is qualitative insights. A lot of marketers love data. We want quantitative insights, but quite frankly, there's a lot of gaps in quantitative data that you don't know, and we're filling in the blanks randomly sometimes as a marketer, based on biases, insights, experience. When you want real qualitative insights, using a platform like usertesting.com, where you either tap into a group of individuals based on the demographics that you share, or you use that platform to survey your own customers to say, hey, take a look at this landing page. What do you think? And giving them some guided questions to help you get some insights, that would be completely helpful. Um, I'll share with you something that I just posted literally today on LinkedIn. I surveyed a customer one
please do.
time, and we had a campaign that was underperforming compared to how our expectations were, and did some digging in terms of data, and we decided to go into surveying customers and saying, what do you think about this page? And just to give you some background, the landing page was on point in terms of value proposition, and we had a ton of bullet points around, here's all the add-ons you're going to have with this product, here's all the white papers and resources you're going to have with this product. and then showed that to a panelist to kind of give us the raw opinion. And I was stunned at the feedback we got. The feedback we got was, wow, that looks like a lot of work for me. And
Mm.
so as a marketer, you think, I'm going to give you more and more and more, and you're going to be really wowed by, I'm paying such a small price for so much product or so much services. And then I get feedback saying, that looks like a lot of work for me. I'm going to look for something simpler. And we wouldn't have
Mm.
gotten something like that without using platforms similar to usertesting.com.
Well, look, I love that you mentioned those two tools. And to your last point you just made, cliches exist for a reason, right? So when you say less is more, you just gotta follow that sometimes because apparently you don't need as much as you think to convey a message, to be able to explain what a product does or to be able to get people interested, right? So that's a very good point. And also uh, user testing. I have a background in UX design, so I've used all of those platforms for interviews and whatnot. And I would say the human component is just so important compared to you could have any tool really, but at the end of the day, it's how you connect with people, right? So to keep things in context then, let's talk about the human, right? So I'm glad we talked about websites and companies you work with, but on a typical day I want to know more about you as a leader, Mark. So what do you do on a daily basis that maybe our audience can learn from, or just to know, get an idea of what are the main activities that you focus on?
Yeah, once the marketing strategy is out of the way, once that's done, it's all about execution and getting some productivity in terms of building out your marketing program and keeping that going. I would say the two things that I focus on as a fractional CMO is it's all about prioritization and removing roadblocks and making sure we have the processes to execute. The way that I do that is essentially having stand-ups every single day just to say, what's everybody working on? What are your roadblocks? What can I unblock for you as a marketing leader? And by doing so, it removes silos from the team, and team members can say, oh, I can help with that, or I didn't realize I was a blocker, right? So a lot of it is really around team management and prioritization. Outside of that, it's really taking a look at campaigns, right? How's our content strategy going? What do we need to do on SEO? Paid media. Let's see how that's trending this week. Those are the unsexy things that a fractional CMO has to roll up their sleeves into and really dig into the data alongside your marketing team and really execute. And the way that I tend to execute with the teams that I work with is establishing an agile operational model where we run on 2 week sprints. Whether we have, you know, let's say someone said to me, hey, we've got a web design project plan and it's 8 weeks long. Great. Let's break that up into 2 week sprints. Hey, I've got a campaign we need to launch. Great. Let's break that up into 2 week sprints. I use 2 week sprints as a prioritization tool. I use 2 week sprints as a communication tool because invariably, as a marketing lead, you're going to get tapped on the shoulder once in a while by your CEO or founder and say, what are you guys doing right now? Great.
Mm.
Here's my spreadsheet on what we are actually doing this week and what we're planning to do the following, sprint. Or I get a question around, we have this hot button thing that we need to do right now. Marketing, you need to hop on this right away. I also use it as a negotiation tool. Great. Here's the things that we're working on in the next 2 weeks. Help me prioritize. Is this more important than X, Y, or Z? Which one of these can I bump out? Sometimes I can easily bump that out and add that to the sprint. Or, conversely, they may say, wow, those are way more important than what I've got. You keep working on that. And so as a marketing leader, again, just to reiterate, it's really around communication, prioritization, and making sure people execute.
Nice. I love that negotiation tool. That's like, okay, yes, but right. That's that's pretty much saying that, right? Yeah, we can do that, but what's got to go? You
Yeah,
let me know,
it's always
right?
going to come at a cost. There's always going to be more time, and if it's not going to be a matter of time, it's going to be money. Like
That's
like I'll
right.
give you an example. Someone may say, "No, I need this right away." you know, regardless of your priorities, great. I can get a freelancer to work on that. Can I get X number of budget so I can, outsource that? Because we can definitely execute on that if we have more resources.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll know exactly what the answer will be, but you just use it just to not say no right away. It's like, yeah, we can do it, but you know some things are already more important than it. So,
Yeah,
right. All right, Mark, we're coming towards the end of the interview, and what we usually do, we like to keep it spicy a little bit,
sure.
and we do a series of rapid fire questions. So the only rule, let's say, that we have is that we do short and crisp answers. Would you be ready for that?
All right, let's do it.
All right, cool. So, what's the last book you read, and why did it stick with you?
The last book I've read or am continuing to read is The Ultimate Sales Letter. Let me look, by Dan Kennedy. It's a direct response copywriting book. Even as a person who does not do copywriting for a living, it's something that's really vital as a marketing leader to kind of brush up on.
Beautiful. What's the one single thing that the companies you work with are focused on at the moment the most? Is there say, overarching theme that they have in common?
It's not going to be it's always going to be how's marketing doing in terms of either customer acquisition or feeding the pipeline. Hate to say it, but marketing leaders are typically boiled down to one of those two numbers. And that's usually what any company is usually focused on, whether you're a startup or an established company.
Yeah, that's a good point. If there would be no boundaries in technology whatsoever, what would be one thing that you would want to have fixed for your role as a marketing leader today?
I wish you could put a tracking tag on people so that you can track their entire buyer journey. And I'm not talking about just the things they download from you, track who they talk to, what websites did they visit, what YouTube videos, track the entire customer journey. If someone could do that, please, I'll throw money at you.
I'm sure we'll get there, I wouldn't be surprised. So if there's one repetitive task, this might be quite related, right? There's one repetitive task that you could automate. What would that be?
I would say it's not just, because we get reports on an automated basis, it's getting insights on an automated basis, meaning just tell me what to do. Nobody likes reports. Like, don't get me wrong, I love data, but I really want the insights. If you can automate insight gathering and just say, here's the three things that came out of our analysis, that'd be fantastic.
Okay. What's one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer?
It's the same thing that I've told, college students when I'm mentoring, future marketers. Just start marketing. Get out of the books. Get out of YouTube. Get out of social media. Start a newsletter. Start a Shopify store. Start a side hustle. Just start marketing. You're going to learn a lot just by doing.
That's wise. Just do something, right? Put the perfectionism aside and get it done.
Yeah. Put the perfectionism aside. Take some basic tactics. Test it out and try again.
Sweet. I love that. Mark, I want to thank you for being on the show with us today. It was a really good conversation. I really enjoyed it myself. Hope our listeners did too. I want to give you the last word. So if someone forgets everything about the interview today, about the companies you work with, and the tools and the strategies that you shared with us, what's the one thing they should remember about your work?
Check out squeezethefunnel.com. That's where I write on a weekly basis on B2B marketing. And that's where you're going to get the most value beyond just this podcast because I share raw, unfiltered thoughts on B2B marketing.
Perfect. All right, we'll send people your way then. Mark,
Awesome.
thanks again for being on the show, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thanks so much, Rick. Pleasure being here.
All right, take care.
Take care.